Welcome to Toyota Time with Timmy the Toolman and Sean. Today we have returning special guest Vincent. And what we're going to be doing for Vincent today is installing some custom front stabilizer bar end links on his 2000 LX470. The end links are coming from Overland Customs. It's owned and operated by a guy named Mike Stutt. Vincent is going to be the guinea pig for a new design from Overland Customs. Nobody other than Vincent currently has these end links. They are a little bit longer than stock. Hopefully we're going to find that the install is going to go perfectly and they're going to work out really well. So if you are finding this video very soon after we got it live, you're most likely not going to see a link to these end links just yet on the Overland Customs website, but they will be up soon. Let me give you a close-up of what these custom end links look like. So here they are. The OEM end link has a bushing. This has a Heim joint, and the end link is going to be a little bit longer than stock, and it has a couple bushings just like the OEM end link has. There's some alignment spacers that go on either side of the Heim joint. So now let's get out to the rig and show you how to install these. You could do the replacement of the front stabilizer bar end links without removing the front tires. All you have to do is turn the wheels all the way one way to get out one of the end links, and then all the way to the other way to get out the other end link. And that's what we're going to do. So Vincent's going to start up the truck and turn the wheels all the way in one direction. And with the wheels turned all the way to the right, that's going to give us access to the end link on the driver's side. So I'll come in here underneath the truck, and you can see the end link right there. So we have access. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take off that top nut on both sides. So we're going to get this one off, and then we're going to turn the wheels all the way to the left and get the passenger side nut off. And then we can rotate the stabilizer bar up off the stud of the end link, and then we'll attack the bolts that hold the end link to the lower control arm. This nut for the end link is a 14 millimeter. I'm going to zip it out with my 3/8 DeWalt gun and a deep 14 millimeter socket. I'll take the washer off and the top cushion, and then we're going to jump to the other side and do the same thing. We got the nut, washer, and top cushion off of the passenger side. Now I can rotate the bar up and off both end links. Now what we're going to do is attack this bolt and get the end link free of the lower control arm. On this side over here, this is a captured nut that is welded to the lower control arm. So you just want to tackle the bolt on this side. This bolt is also a 14 millimeter. I'm going to use the same gun and socket to get this out. Here's the bolt, and here's the end link. So we're just going to turn the wheels back over to the right and do the same thing on the driver's side. So we're now doing a comparison of the original end link with the Overland Customs end link. I'm going to measure from the top of the stud to the center of the bolt hole and see what number I get for the OEM one. It looks to be 3 5/8, and this one looks like it's 5 7/8. So it's 2 1/4 inches longer than stock. And Vincent did install a 2-inch lift in the front. So this is right about appropriate for the lift that he put on the front end of his LX470. And the measurement I gave you for these was in the most furthest retracted position. You can back these things out and get them to a longer length if you want. So for Vincent, he's just going to keep the studs all the way in. He's not going to elongate it further than that. And then these are the lock nuts. So you want to tighten this nut against this part of the end link to lock it in place. And I believe it's probably better to tighten these lock nuts in place while you have the end link off the vehicle rather than trying to do it on the vehicle. But I suppose you could. The size is 19 millimeters, so I'm going to hold the shaft with one 19 millimeter and tighten the nut with the other. They're reverse thread, so I'm actually going to have to grab onto it and pull this wrench towards me in a loosening position. So that one's tight. And this one is still loose. And this one is regular thread. I'm going to be going righty-tighty with this one. Okay, I have both lock nuts tight against the shaft of the end link. And then I have to grab a couple of these spacers. So you put one in on one side, and then you slide the other one in on the other side. Just like that. And that's basically going to mimic the width of the OEM end link. So now let's install these suckers. I'm going to slide the end link in place on the lower control arm. And then I'm going to get the bolt in. The torque spec for this 14mm bolt is 38 foot-pounds. To torque it, I'm using the same deep 14mm socket, a short 3/8 extension, and my 3/8 torque wrench. There it is. We're gonna do the same thing on the passenger side, get the end link installed, and then we'll be able to rotate the sway bar down onto the stud and get the bushings capturing the sway bar. These end links use a polyurethane bushing, so I'm going to use some Mission Automotive silicone paste to lubricate the threads, lubricate the washer, and lubricate the bushing so it's less likely to squeak while he's going over bumps. And you get the idea. I'm just going to lubricate these really well for the installation. I did say earlier that I recommended tightening the lock nuts while the end link was off the vehicle, but you can see here there's plenty of access to tighten them while they're on the rig, so choose your preferred method. So now with both end links installed on the lower control arms, I can rotate the sway bar down over the stud. What you have to know is that if the other side that you're not currently at isn't aligned right, it's not going to slide all the way over. So you might have to run over to the other side and guide it over the other stud. Okay, so I'm going to have to jump over the other side and take a look because it's not going all the way down. So you can see that this driver's side wasn't aligned, so I just have to align it with the sway bar, and then now I could slide it over. Next, we're going to get the top cushion, the washer, and the nut on. I've got the upper bushing lubricated with some silicone paste. I'm going to slide it over, and the little nub faces towards the sway bar, not the flat side, so remember that. And then I'll get the flat washer on top, and then I'll put the nylon lock nut. The OEM torque spec for the upper nut that holds the bushings to the sway bar is 18 foot-pounds. I'm not going to worry about a torque spec for this. I'm just going to get onto this nut with a 19mm deep socket and just clamp down on the bushings till I see the bushings start to squeeze out a little bit, and I'm going to call it good. So when I get done with the tightening of it, I'll show you what it looks like. When you're tightening this nut, you might get to a point where the whole stud starts to spin on you. So you'll want to hold it with a 19mm while you're tightening the top nut. And you can see we have a little bit of a bulge in the bushing, especially the upper one, and we're going to call that good. It looks like we have somewhere around 1/4 inch of thread showing above the nylon lock nut, maybe a little bit more. And now we're going to do the same with the other side. All right, we got the other one installed and we're done. All right, we are all done with this job. As you saw, it's a pretty simple modification to do to your 100 series Land Cruiser or your Lexus LX470. Because the install went so well, Vincent and I are hoping that Overland Customs is going to be very soon having these available on their website. When the link becomes available on their site, I will update the video description and add it. With all that said, we thank you for watching Toyota Time with Timmy the Toolman and Sean and special guest Vincent. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. Click on that subscribe button and also click on that notification bell if you'd like to be notified when we put up new content on our channel, which we are always putting up very helpful and sick mods kind of content like this video here. Peace out, happy wrenching, bye-bye.
mundo diferente.